Hey everyone, it's me, Dirty Honey. So today we're going to be talking about the biggest topic probably out there, one of the biggest topics, outer space. There's nothing bigger than this place we call outer space or the universe. And so this topic is fucking humongous. I had to take notes on this one because there's so many things with space. I mean, first of all, space is fucking a vacuum. It's cold as fuck. It's almost absolute zero, which is the point at which molecular motion stops. It's fucking freezing out there, dude. Absolute zero? What the fuck? It's almost absolute zero in space. And then the hot side of it, too, I'm sure there's hotter places, but the center of the sun is 27 million degrees. Fuck. And then out in space, it's almost absolute zero. The fucking differences there are just ridiculously huge. And so there's no gravity. There's no oxygen. There's no friction. So you could throw a rock and it'll just go forever. Forever? What the fuck is forever? That's another thing. There's no end, dude. This shit is fucking goes forever. There's no explanation for outer space. No explanation. Dude, nobody knows what the fuck it really is. We just have all these guesses and we give it a name like outer space or universe. That doesn't mean we don't understand it. It just means that we gave it a name. So space is kind of like the closest thing that we have to visualize infinity. I mean, it's still just a little fucking sliver of trying to understand infinity, but you look into space and it goes forever. So that's the closest visualization of infinity that we have. Fucking dark nothingness forever. And so the first thing that I have noted here is that the temperature, we talked about it being hot or cold in outer space, and to get, close to exact on that, and a lot of these temperatures and whatever facts or whatever I'm giving you are averages. A lot of it depends on where in space and how much matter or whatever the fuck is going on around there. But in general, outer space is negative 454.88 degrees Fahrenheit, which is barely above absolute zero, which I don't know what absolute zero is, probably negative 455 or some shit. I mean, it's fucking super cold out there. The absolute zero is the point at which molecular motion stops. Okay, and it's also then the sun and the inside of the sun, inside this gigantic fucking sun that's actually a small star, it's 27 million degrees. And then on the outside of the sun, because it's so fucking cold in space, the difference in heat from the center of the sun at 27 million degrees and the surface of the sun, after all this heat has been released into space, is 10,000 degrees. Dude, so you lose almost all the heat from the core to the surface of the sun. I mean, 10,000 degrees is hot as fuck, but compared to 27 million degrees, it ain't shit. That's crazy shit, dude, the difference right there. And without stars, there's no fucking light in space. Or, maybe there's light. I don't know what nebulas and all this kind of shit, if they put off light or gases and stuff. Not sure exactly how that works, but very little, if any, light in space without stars. So we have these fucking stars. And they give us light. They give heat as well, to give little pockets of heat where Earth resides, and that's how we survive on that. But light comes out of the sun and gives us the ability to see shit, right? Light is its own video, dude. But just to hit a topic on this, the speed of light is 186,000 miles a second. The speed of light is 671 million miles an hour. Dude, to give you an idea, the speed of sound, and sound speed depends on atmosphere, pressure, and temperature, all kinds of shit. But for the most part, 767 miles an hour is the speed of sound. The speed of sound we think is pretty fucking fast, right? The speed of sound is 767 miles an hour. Dude, light travels 167,000 miles in a second, bro. 671 million miles in an hour. And then there's something called a light year, which is basically how far light will travel in 1 year. So the speed of light, boost, takes off. For a whole year goes by, how far did that light go? Almost 6 trillion miles, dude. 5.88 trillion miles. Bro, you can't even comprehend that shit. It's fucking insane, dude. The speed of light is actually the fastest fucking thing in existence that we know of. It's the universal speed limit. Nothing is faster than the speed of light. That's fucking crazy, dude. So there's a limit. Like, existence and reality and shit has a fucking limit. Speed of light is that limit of light, at least. The speed of anything that we know of. It's almost fucking instantaneous. And so just comprehending the size of space, as you know, the speed of light travels, let's just say 6 trillion miles in 1 year. Now, we have, even at that speed, okay, now there's stars and stuff that we see down here on Earth. We see those stars, and that's light that's traveling through space and hitting our eyeball, and that's how we see that light. That light actually left the star like millions of fucking years ago. Dude, that light left that star before Jesus walked the earth, before dinosaurs walked the earth. That's that light that you're seeing right in the sky at night is the past. It's like looking into the past. You can see light from like millions of fucking years ago, dude. And all those little specks of light up there are from different times ago. It's like we're looking into the past when we see that light, and we're seeing so far into the past. It's fucking crazy, dude. Like millions of years into the past by looking at a star. And just think about how that light that is hitting your eye left the star in the form of a particle or whatever, the light particle, flying towards your eyeball at the speed of light, 6 trillion miles an hour, and it took fucking 2 million years to get here. Dude, do you have any idea how far away that fucking star was, dude? That star might be dead now. It's gone. It doesn't even exist anymore, and that light finally hit your eye. That is fucking amazing to me, dude. That's just fucking insane. And we can see out into space. Like, space is our visualization of infinity. Because space goes on forever, we think. We don't know, but we think space goes on forever. And so we have all these telescopes and Hubble telescope out in space. These super powerful digital fucking, who knows even what they're using to look super far into space and read rays and heat and x-rays and all kinds of different things that they use telescopes to see out into the distance. So we can actually see the edge of, or the horizon of space, kind of like you see the horizon in the sea, you know, the horizon at sea over the ocean where you see the sunset. That's kind of like what we can see in outer space. We can see just the edges of, it's the edge of how far we can see. It's not the edge of outer space, but it's the edge of how far we can see. Meaning that the light from the stars that are further than the horizon has not made it to our eyes yet. It's still traveling at 6 trillion miles a year, and it still hasn't made it here. And so that's why we can't see past that horizon. So the horizon will continuously get a little bit further away because the light from further out stars and stuff is finally making it to us, which lets us see a little bit further into space. But this horizon is so far out there that the light from stars beyond the horizon has not made it here yet. And it's traveling 6 trillion miles a year, dude. 671 million miles an hour. Still hasn't made it. That's fucking nuts, dude. Space is gigantic. This thing is so fucking huge. It's just insane. And then there's these things called black holes. Okay? We don't know anything about space. We just see stuff and take guesses, throw a name at it. But really, a black hole, nobody even knows what the fuck it is. It's this thing that we think we know stuff about. And basically what we think it is that it's this hole with, it's a collapsed star that died and collapsed down into this super ultra fucking mega tight gravity ball or some shit, and it's sucking everything around it into that because the gravity is so fucking immense. It's like a reverse explosion or some shit. I don't know exactly how to explain it. I don't know, obviously. Nobody does. Fucking smart people don't know. I don't know. I'm dirty honey. I'm stupid. But from what I'm reading and what I hear by the scientists is that the gravity there is so fucking strong, it even holds light. This shit that travels at the speed of light, the fastest thing on Earth, fucking 6 trillion miles a year. Dude, 671 million miles an hour. And the light can't get out of there because the velocity of that pull or that gravity is equal to or greater than the light itself. Something like that. I don't know exactly how to explain it, but super crazy shit. The event horizon is what they call the edge of a black hole, where once something crosses over that edge of the black hole or that event horizon, it's never coming back. That shit's done, dude. Light can't even get out of there. So, I mean, dude, where the fuck does all that stuff go? It gets sucked into there and it's just like... So there's theories on where that stuff goes, and it's called a white hole. Okay, so the white hole is where all that light and everything shoots out of. But nothing can go back in. So it's this other side of the black hole, maybe in another dimension or something, and it's just constantly spewing out light and whatever else it's sucked in on the black hole side. Kind of like a straw or something that's pushing through. Now that white hole thing is a theory. No one's ever seen one. It's a mathematical theory using some freaking super accurate mathematical equations and shit that I don't know anything about, but that's how they define a white hole, as a mathematical theory. Because all that stuff has to go somewhere. Potentially it's going to shoot out somewhere else. And then there's this other thing called a wormhole. Okay, now it's not the kind of earthworm we're thinking of. This is a wormhole that travels from one location, kind of like a black hole, whereas if something goes in that black hole, it shoots out of the white hole, but not so violent. The wormhole is more like a porthole or something, where if you were to go into this wormhole, it would travel you through space and time, through the space-time fabric that we'll get into, something that Albert Einstein came up with. It'll travel you through that space-time fabric and get you like light years away from us in a split second or something like that. It's like a turbo freaking bending time so that you can access something super far away because you actually bend. It's like if time and space is this blanket, a wormhole is kind of like you can bend the blanket and then poke a pin through the blanket, and it goes through two sides of the blanket that used to be, when it was laying flat, those 2 points were really far away. But when you fold the blanket in half, or fold the space-time in half, those 2 parts that used to be really far away in the space-time fabric are now right next to each other. And so if you poked a pin through that fabric, it would go through both pieces. And so when you stretch that back out and lay it flat, those pieces, where the hole was, is really far away. Something like that is what a wormhole does. It kind of allows or utilizes space-time fabric to travel at an impossible speed. Like, you just magically appear there or some shit. And so the space-time thing is something that Albert Einstein came up with. And so it's kind of like it's like a fabric. It's called space-time fabric, and objects kind like stars and planets and black holes are kind of like embedded in that fabric. Like, it's like in the fabric, maybe a little on top, a little on bottom if it was flat. And so the bigger the object is, the more space within that blanket it consumes, which causes the blanket to kind of ripple around that. Because, like, imagine if you had this blanket and you cut a hole in it and then squeeze this big basketball in there, it would rip through the blanket, but all the portion of blanket that used to be where the ball is, that area has to be displaced. And so that fabric of the blanket will kind of ripple a little bit. It has to bend somewhere because the ball is pushing it out of the way. Space-time fabric is kind of like that, and it's invisible, and it involves time and fucking all kinds of theories and math and stuff that, normal people can't figure that shit out. Nobody can, really. But they guess on it, and that's a theory using evidence. And that's what Albert Einstein, genius guy, figured out, is that there's this space-time fabric that's made of density, pressure, and flux of energy. So without energy, there would be no space-time. So energy is part of that. And energy, and anything with mass, including your body, will bend the space-time around that object, and it'll affect, creating the effects of gravity. And that's how gravity is created. That's a whole nother video too, gravity. We'll get into that. I don't understand it. I don't want to get too bit into it and stick my foot in my mouth on it. But that's the definition that I looked up. And that redirects the paths of objects that travel into that object that has gravity. So that's kind of what gravity is. It pulls things towards it. And so in space, that energy that's required is this stuff called dark energy. Now, we can't see it. It's totally invisible, but it's there. We know it's there. We think it's there. Scientists think it's there because it's what is causing the universe to continue expanding. It's like this opposite of gravity as well. It's pushing everything away. It's this energy that repulses matter rather than attract it. So this dark energy is what causes the universe to expand eternally. And the guesstimate is that the universe, the entire universe, is made up of over 69% of this dark energy. It's about 70% of the universe is made up of dark energy. The other almost 30%, or over 30%, I'm sorry, of the universe is made up of dark matter. So dark matter is this invisible stuff that it's only detectable because of its gravity. And so it has gravity and it pulls things in the universe towards it. And that's how we can see that something is there pulling something towards it and has mass or gravity, which is the opposite of that dark energy. And so scientists have named that opposite of dark energy, or whatever those two conflicting forces are. The smaller one is dark matter, and that it makes up 30% of the universe. Okay, and that's kind of like the gravity portion. That's where everything's clustering together, and then the dark energy is forcing everything apart. So the universe, according to the scientists, is in this battle with itself to pull and push, and the pushing is winning. That's why it's pushing out for eternity. We got 70% push and only 30% pull to gather these galaxies and universes and stuff within the dark matter areas, and it's all spread out everywhere, and it could be its own living force. Maybe that's God, dude. This dark energy could be how we see God, because nobody really knows what the fuck it is. We can't see it. We just know something is there. Same thing with dark matter. Can't see it. We just know something is there, causing an effect on other things that are there. That's it. And so more trippy shit that we don't know what the fuck it is. We can just see it happening, but we don't know what it is. Just like life on Earth, we don't even know what the fuck we are, why we exist, or any of this. This whole universe, we don't even know why it exists. Or even what it is, this big black thing. This dark fucking giant thing that we can't find the end of. Like, that's it. That's all we know. And we're giving it a bunch of names, like fucking insane, crazy shit. There's no friction in space either. So if friction is caused on Earth when you throw something, there's gravity that pulls it to the ground. But the reason you can't throw something or roll something forever is that there's friction. The air particles and all the gases and everything that's in the air that you can't see, it's there. Like when you stick your hand out the window when you're driving down the freeway, you feel all of that, right? That's friction, that you're pushing your hand through all these little particles. And we call it oxygen, air, we just call it air, I guess. The dummies like me, we don't know the scientific name for it. We just call it air. So when you put your hand out there, air blows and it pushes against your hand. That's what causes things to stop moving. So if I throw a ball, all that air is slowing the ball down until it slows down enough, and the force behind it reduces enough because of that friction slowing it down, reduces the force enough for gravity to take over and start pulling it down, and then the ball falls to the ground. In space, there's nothing for it to land on necessarily unless it's really far away, but for gravity to take effect. But there's no gravity in space, so it won't fall down. If it did, what the fuck's down? Nothing. It's eternity, every direction. So, but there's no friction out there. There's no air. There's no particles of any kind. So if I took a baseball, and threw it, boost, this fucking thing would go for eternity in a straight line until it hits something. Maybe dark matter would pull it in a certain direction, or if it hit a planet or something, it might stop. Or something else with gravity greater than its own, then it would stick to that thing. But there's no invisible or hard to see to the naked eye particles out in space to slow things down. So there's no friction, and anything you throw will go forever. And this is like this 3-dimensional world in space too. So giving directions, can you imagine? Like on Earth, we say, oh yeah, go straight, go north, and then take a right, and you'll be headed east. And then take another right, you'll be headed south, and another right, you'll be headed west, and one more right, you're back north again, right? But that's it. There's 4 directions. North, east, south, west, or forward, backward, right, left. That's it. In space, every single little freaking atom of a difference in location has a different trajectory. If I was to throw a ball in space and it goes in a straight line forever, and I'm trying to hit this planet that's the same size as that ball, and or let's say this planet's fucking huge, it's way out there and it's the size of Earth, okay, but it's 200 light years away, and I throw this ball 200 light years, that's going to be freaking, how much is it? Oh, we said 6 trillion miles, so times 200, we're at like 612, I don't even know what quadrillion or some shit miles away. This is astronomically far away. And so if I throw this ball and it's not exactly on the exact line of atoms all the way to this fucking planet, it's not going to hit it. And why is that? Because the distance is so far and there's so so many little angles that it could go in to get the wrong way. After time, eventually, after traveling a fucking million miles away, it was headed off just a little bit to the right, and by the time it got way the fuck out there, it missed the planet, like a slice of pizza. Okay, if you're in the middle of the pizza, and you shoot, let's say the pizza's cut in half, and you're there right in the middle, and you put a line out towards the edge of that pizza, and you angle it a little bit this way, it's going to make a bigger slice. By the time you get to the crust, that crust is going to be a bigger piece than if you angled it this way. And now you're going to get to the crust, and it's going to be a skinny little piece. That's because the line ended up going to a different location on the crust, and that's only like a 1 foot away. Dude, if you're like millions of miles away, that fucking pizza pie is going to be so far off that crust landing zone, it's not even funny. And then you're talking about all these three-dimensional, 360 fucking, I don't even know how to explain that shit, spherical dimensions and shit. This is 4D or something. Directions in outer space are fucking insane, dude. If you're 0.0000000000001% off, you're lost in space. Done. And you'll never be found. And then the other, something that makes me think of is, what if humanity and our entire solar system, which is the Milky Way, or no, wait, our galaxy is the Milky Way, and that galaxy is within the solar system? Or no, the solar system's in the galaxy. There you go, something like that. Yeah, I think the galaxy's bigger. The galaxy's the Milky Way. We're in that galaxy, and our solar system is there in the galaxy. And if I'm wrong, whatever, fuck you. Okay, it's something like that. But what if that whole galaxy was formerly, or it used to be part of this bigger galaxy, or this bigger, like, society of galaxies where real life is happening right now, and we somehow got ejected and our galaxy spun off into space, and we're actually lost in space. Our entire galaxy could be lost in space to the core of true humanity and existence, or whatever, like living things, people and whatever, aliens and stuff. There might be this whole fucking portion of the universe that's like densely populated with living beings, like similar to us, that communicate, travel between galaxies, and it's like this fucking orgy of living stuff. And we somehow, our galaxy got tossed off into space, and we're out here by ourselves thinking we're king of the fucking universe, and we're really missing the fucking boat, dude. And how do we know that's not happening? For all we know, there's these aliens that we refer to them as life outside of us, could be where it's all really going on. And we're just this little fucking speck out here in the middle of fucking nowhere, thinking we got it all figured out, and we're missing the whole thing, dude. We could be missing out on just full-blown euphoria in this, just anything you can imagine, like straight up, like shit you see in movies, like that movie that I can't think of, right? Damn, that's nuts. Just thinking about that is totally crazy. Being lost in space as an entire galaxy. Anything could be out there. And so another thing too is thinking about that way out there place. Like, let's say that we are lost and that there is this other whole society or whatever, this giant like cluster of living life maintaining galaxies and planets and stuff. What would that be like, dude? What would that be like? I'm picturing possibly there being like man-made planets or something, like little ones the size of, maybe a city would be a big one. And it's like that's how you survive out there, is you get your own little planet, you build it or some shit, and then And then, that maybe there's atmospheric pressure creation thing, some sort of something that helps you create that atmospheric pressure. And then you can take your little planet and propel it out into space to orbit around the bigger giant mother planet or whatever. And that's where all the big stuff happens. And your home is this little planet that rotates or orbits around the mother planet, which is God made or whatever, nature made, and then these little man-made planets orbit around. And maybe those little man-made planets are like your house or like your family. And you name your planet after your family heritage or your whoever built the planet for you back in your ancestry. Something like that. That would be crazy shit. That would be totally crazy. I kind of can see that. That's probably in a movie somewhere. So the other thing, too, to kind of think about that I think is super weird is that space is so fucking big, dude. Outer space is so big. We have only experienced, even in the entire time that man has been on Earth has only been in such a small location of outer space. It hasn't been in the majority of outer space. We've been pretty much standing still. It's almost like we have lived our entire existence standing still in the universe. We have not moved at all in relationship to the size of the universe. So it kind of feels like our understanding of that universe can only be as big as what you could see from that little standing point or that point of perspective, which is obviously what we have. And we use telescopes and Hubble telescopes and stuff to see further and all kinds of technology to see as far as we can or try and understand it and experiment and everything. But it seems like we are very, very unexperienced in the universe. Like, we have not seen hardly anything, dude. And so how can we go and pretend like we know what the fuck life is all about when we haven't even seen if the Earth is the universe, we haven't even inspected a single grain of sand on the Earth in relationship to the universe. Not even a whole grain of sand. You could take that grain of sand, hammer it down as hard as you can 100 times until it's down into dust, and we haven't even experienced that much of the universe if the universe was the Earth. Like, none, dude. We've almost just nothing experienced this universe. We really can't say that we know anything about the universe. And people who are honest about it, that's what they say. We don't know anything about the universe, and we're trying to figure it out. And so that's what science does, and they experiment and do things like that, and then see what they think it could be. And so that's about it. This video could probably go on for a fucking decade and still not figure out outer space. But we're over 30 minutes now. So that's about all I have to say now. I might come back with later thoughts on a second video with outer space stuff. But that's about it. And so we're lost in space, kind of. I mean, just out here in the middle of fucking nowhere with no other planets or other life forms outside of our own. We're all by ourselves out here in space. So that's totally trippy thing to think about. Anyways, you guys, we're here on Earth together. We can't reach anything outside of Earth as of yet. So the best thing to do, what we really need to do, is be nice. Okay, you guys gotta do that. Just be nice. Look up out into space at those stars. See the past millions of years ago as you stare into the light of the star that left its star millions of years ago, traveling fucking distances that we can't even comprehend. Dude, what that little speck of light or that particle of light has seen on its distant travel to us, we'll never see. I don't think. Never know. Maybe we become light particles and we experience the whole thing. Who fucking knows? Anyways, you guys be nice. Another thing to do, you have to do 91.5 FM on the radio, KUSC.org on the internet. Dude, you could sit there, look at the stars, and space out and just love that stuff. And don't forget to watch all the other videos. Like them. Watch them to the end. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. And that's about it, man. We'll see you guys later. If you guys have any other suggestions on videos, let me know. And I'll do what I can. All right? Bye.